In White Supremacy. We are back. If this is your first time, how are you doing? We're glad that you could sit with us, fellowship with us, be in community with us, maybe even learn from us, maybe even laugh. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Awkward pause. Laugh.
My name is just Cyril. I am co-founder and CEO of One Hood Media.
Nobody cares, nigga.
Yeah.
Let's bring on who's here today. Who hold on, let me
You know what? You can speak because we match. I will give you permission.
It's a miracle.
I will give you permission.
You can speak.
Siri, are you done with your intro? Are you?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Again, nobody cares what I got to say.
no.
Anyway, this miracle, aka blessings, blessings. Turning up, ready to be here, ready to talk.
I had a conversation yesterday, and the person said, if I ever meet Miracle in person, I'll probably cry.
God.
No.
That's how much they love Miracle in these streets.
Most of us are moved by white tears because
they were black.
Actually think they're real.
They were black. That's a black person. Come on
You
now.
don't have to cry. Just say hi. Say hi back. Very normal, very demure over here.
And you, sir.
I'm nobody important.
Really? Wow.
Oh, the humility. I love it.
Yeah.
Are we the waffle colored?
Sad and,
irate.
Sad, angry.
Sad and infinitely depressed, maybe?
Yeah, sad and infinitely depressed. Yeah, that's about right.
Brother Saeed, we got it, bro. Don't worry about it. I'll do it on my phone. So.
Yeah.
It's been a week. It's been a time. It's been a day.
It has been a very somber week for black people.
Yeah.
Black Pittsburgh, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, I called it daunting. It's been a
daunting is a good, that's a good word. Yeah.
But we're here. We're here.
Because we have to go to work.
There's to be approximated 306 of our days this year supposed to be overcasted in 2025.
In Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I go away.
Yeah, I was about to say, I cannot wait to start traveling again. I'm fucking over.
Oh yeah. You got all your paperwork.
Yeah,
together.
I got all my paperwork.
Yes.
Yeah, my Canadian passport is coming back, so I'm fucking out.
Listen.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I want to travel too. I'm ready to travel, but I've been having. I know we're not talking about this, but I'm bringing it to the podcast anyways. I've been having like conflicting thoughts, right, about traveling and leaving, right?
Why? 'Cause you don't want to be viewed as a colonizer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I do think that like right now we're having these conversations. I've been having like every day someone I know.
But as someone who doesn't believe in borders, how are you?
Let me cook a little bit.
Come on. She said, bro.
But I've been having
talking.
all of my.
I mean,
I don't believe in borders. The borders already exist, and they're reinforced by like death, destruction, and this idea that like I feel like our country's spiraling into fascism because I have an American passport.
Yeah.
I can go somewhere and be safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
But right now, like people are being arrested and thrown to the ground,
right?
Because someone is saying that they're an immigrant when they're not. Like I am really wrestling with like, what is our responsibility in this moment? Yes, like black people were a minority, but at the same time, some of us are willingly uplifting white supremacy.
100%.
So do we have the right, like we have the ability to,
right?
But do we have the right like to travel and flee the country like before it gets bad? You know what I mean?
Or can we do it in a way where we're in communication with the community that we're fleeing to, right, or going to, and in that conversation, it's like, well, can I bring stuff that you need, or how can I come and really be an asset instead of being somebody that just comes in and stays on the resort, doesn't do anything, doesn't do any action. It's like, can I bring something, or can I think that's very thoughtful, particularly like you said right now. I mean, they're talking about ICE agents in mass at courtrooms.
Yeah.
There was we just saw was a guy got arrested and had a real ID, which I don't even have. And they said, oh, this was fake. And no, it turns out he was actually a United States citizen. And so you do have all of this going on. And the one immigration plan, the one immigrant that is allowed to come into America are white South Africans. I mean, it's like if we tried to write this script and we said, hey, Donald Trump is going to crack down on all immigrants except white people who come from South Africa, and we said this to probably some of these Trump supporters, they would laugh. They would be like, Trump would never do nothing like that. That's crazy. This is what we're seeing. And so we actually saw Trump bringing in the South African president, and I would attempt to say my brother's name, but y'all know I'm not really good at...
Our brother from South Africa.
Yes. His first name is Cyril. So I'm going to just call my brother President Cyril. And, you know, Trump tried to, like, check him over this white genocide claim. And shout out to my man, you know, Cyril, because he kind of came back with a little bit of smoke on his own. Did you want to play that clip, sir?
Peri Peri sauce.
Yes. Oh, shit.
I love Peri Peri, by the way.
I did, you know, real quick.
You ever went Nando's?
No.
Oh, you didn't go?
I rewatched our episode last week when I was talking about Qatar, and I said Trump was trying to curry favor, and you all started to laugh, and I had no idea what was funny. And then I went, well, I was like, yo, y'all is crazy. Anyway, that's not even what I meant, but I was like, okay.
It's not what you meant. Is I know the jokes that are running into his head at this time.
Yes. That was probably an edit. That sound effect was probably edited as well, but let's go. Let's go.
Fine. It's good, harmless fun.
Yes, President.
Idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But
and I'm gonna take them white people off your hand too.
But he's like, listen, okay, let them flee. Yeah. But it's this idea of a lot of people. It's very interesting. They want to call that a genocide in South Africa, but not everywhere else.
Don't get me started.
But the idea is it is reparations. They did not say they were going to take land away from every white person. They basically are like looking through the records, and it was like, if you have inappropriately come into land that is not yours, there's a possibility.
Wait, you mean white people can inappropriately take land in a land that they're not from?
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thought it?
Wow. Who would have known, right?
Wow. As we sit on land that they took.
That sounds like alternative facts.
Right? It's this idea of like, because we are moving to a society where we believe in equity and equality, we also have to believe in repair and restoration. And sometimes what is restoring is taking away things that don't belong to you and giving them to the rightful owner, and trying to find ways that you'll coexist in land and stuff like that. But
so factcheck.org actually fact checked. Trump played this video. It was almost like Trump was trying to create this gotcha moment. I'm gonna bring the president of South Africa and show him all of this quote unquote proof that there was a white genocide happening to white South African farmers, which is not the case. That's not even close to the truth. He said, according to factcheck.org, Trump played a nearly 5-minute long video that proved white Afrikaner farmers were victim of a genocide in South Africa. The video actually showed a 2020 demonstration, not a burial site. And so it was like this thing of like, oh, here are all the, because it was like crosses on the ground. And they were like, that wasn't a burial site. That was actually a demonstration to bring attention to the deaths of all farmers of all races, not just white farmers.
What if President Ramaphosa showed?
Oh, there you go.
What?
You should have said that when I was calling him President Cyril.
I'm just letting you rock, bro. I told you I'm nobody important. I'm just here. I'm just pressing buttons. Like, I do a little bit of that.
Okay, got you.
And I do some of that. Right? But anyway.
There's one you forgot to press, though.
Fuck Donald Trump.
Come on, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We right here. We right here.
So what if President Ramaphosa, when he came and Donald Trump showed him this video, he's like, in fact, I have a video to show you. And it was George Floyd, and it was all of these, it was all of this. He's like, there's a genocide happening in your own country. What would be the response then? Would Donald Trump call that alternative facts? Would he call that fake news?
If he
that's what he should have done. Like, I would have said, if he
pulled out a little iPad,
it was like, by the way, I'm something of a documentarian myself. And I have something to show you because your treatment of black people here in America has been less than stellar.
It said, here's some other claims that were fact checked. It said President Trump displayed an image of what he claimed were body bags of white farmers who had been murdered in South Africa. The image was of humanitarian workers burying bodies in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The image was a screen grab of a Reuters video in February after deadly battles against Rwandan-backed rebels who had captured the city. So no, what wasn't even body bags of white farmers. It says crime in South Africa is high. Data shows that most murder victims are black in South Africa's country. More than 26,000 in 2024 were black. As for farmers themselves, only 44 murders were linked to farmers. Only 7 of those murders were white. 7 white farmers murdered in 2024. It says the real conflict with farmers in South Africa is the disproportionate amount of land owned by white Afrikaner farmers. Although they only comprise 7% of the population, they own 75% of the farmland. And so the president, Ramaphosa signed legislation to begin the process, like Miracle said, of redressing land inequity that allows the government to, if they have to, seize land, but no land has been seized, and he's encouraging the farmers to like sell the land. So again, like, you're the president and 7% of the people own 75% of the land, and you got, you know, black South Africans whose that's their country. You know what I'm saying? Who's lived there their whole life. Not saying these white farmers don't have any access to the country, but for 7% of the people to own 75% of the land, that's crazy. And the fact that there's like, so to create a pathway to an equitable process is what you're supposed to do if you're the president.
It's wild because, like, in the media sphere, all you see reported from the beginning, I would say, of the Ukraine-Russian war was white Americans concerned about white people abroad.
Yes.
That was it. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen so many infographics and things of genocides and atrocities happening across the globe that get virtually no coverage. Yeah. And, you know, the white-on-white violence that exists between Russia and Ukraine is one thing. Right, and I think a lot of Americans were divided about that, considering the fact that so many American nationals were being funded by Russia and the propaganda and all that. But now that it's black people versus white people in the country, the South Africa, all of a sudden there's this white outrage. Right. All of a sudden white people care about what's happening beyond American borders. Right. Now all of a sudden all of these white people on Facebook and Instagram are geopolitical scholars. Right. Everybody that signs up to Facebook gets their PhD in sociology and epidemiology and now civics, apparently. Right. And what's fucking sickening is that these are the same people who were not only willfully silent against Gaza, Palestinians, willfully silent about the atrocities happening in Congo, Sudan, willfully silent about the things that are happening right here in America. Right. To the white farmers here. Yeah. To the white farmers here that are getting shit on by the Trump administration, they get absolutely no recompense whatsoever. They don't care about them. Yeah. But all of a sudden now, you know what I mean, we want to be fake outraged about fucking settler colonials in South Africa.
But it's this article that the New York Times did, and the title is Trump Casts Himself as the Protector of Persecuted White People. And that's really what he's done. And if there's one thing that he has actually followed up in terms of his, you know, he promised all of this. Obviously, the economy's going to hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, and, you know, prices aren't going down anytime soon. In fact, these tariffs are hitting and now prices are going to go up.
Yeah, Nike just started raising prices.
Nike started raising prices. He's saying he's going to hit Apple with a 25% tariff. Yeah. So all of these things are going to continue to go up. You know, he told Walmart, eat the tariffs. Like, don't try to like raise your prices. Yeah. But what's fascinating, but he is like, he has been weaponizing his Justice Department, and obviously he's weaponizing, you know, ICE against black and brown people.
He said he was going to. The whole campaign trail, he said what he was going to do.
Yes.
And I don't want to be here shooting him bail because that's not what I'm doing, but at least I guess he's sticking to his laurels.
But this
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Well, I think this is where you start to say to the black and brown people that supported him, like, at what point do even they have to say?
They don't. They don't.
Yo, like, he does not care. Like the idea, he's down for these white folks. You know what I'm saying? Period. He, again, like if you're El Funky.
El Funky, man.
And El Funky is a pro-Cuban rapper.
Pro-Trump Cuban rapper.
A pro-Trump Cuban rapper.
Yeah.
And now, you know, he's going to get kicked out of the country because he's not a citizen.
Oh, shucks.
Was talked about he wanted to vote for Trump if he was able to. You know, supposedly Mark Rubio and all these people have like used his music, but Mark Rubio ain't going to help you now.
Don't look at Mark Rubio. Mark Rubio can't help you.
He can't. He's not going to help you. They said he got 30 days. Now you're going to be back in Cuba. You know what I'm saying? And so again, it's like, and we've seen this. We saw this with
salsa your ass out here, nigga.
I think that's Mexico. I think Cuban is a different dance. Maybe, I don't know. But it's, again, we saw that with the Cubans in Miami. We saw that with the Venezuelan community in Miami, right? And we're seeing this with these, you know, if you're, and I just wonder where are these black Trump supporters, and what do they say when he says all the black and brown people have to leave the country, the Haitians got to leave the country, but these white South African people are the only ones, and they're allowed to come in because of some genocide that doesn't even exist.
Black and brown Trump supporters are like people in abusive relationships.
1,000%.
They are just trapped in this cycle where they're like, well, you don't know him like I know him. He didn't mean it. I deserve this. I had this coming. Maybe if I just watched my tone, he would have treated me better. Maybe if I would have voted for him earlier, he would have treated me better. Like, that's what they sound like. They sound like perpetual victims with Stockholm syndrome.
Listen to this. The Trump administration, and again, these are real stories, right?
Of course they are.
The Trump administration said Monday that it has opened a civil rights investigation into the city of Chicago to see if its mayor or others had engaged in a pattern of discrimination by hiring a number of black people to senior positions. This is Chicago is a city that's predominantly black.
Yeah.
And again, you know, I talked about black people want black power last week, right?
You did.
Now when we get, thank you. Now that when we get voted in, and it's like, yo, I want to have black people in these positions.
Where's Tim Scott right now? What the fuck is he doing? I hope he's brushing his teeth.
Brushing his gums.
Brushing his gums, man. Maybe chewing carrots or something, man.
Kind of navigating his fake marriage. I mean, like, is he still married? Like, because he doesn't have to be now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He was probably hitting a Monte Teo to get all the, you know what I mean? My girlfriend's not from here. She's from Canada.
But remember, he, like, you know, had, because the whole thing around Tim Scott, well, he wasn't married.
Where's Vivek? What's he doing?
Hey,
He's
bro,
running for
that is
Vivek
wild. Right, but you're right.
Really?
Like,
Huh.
but it's right. It's like, where are these?
Yeah, where all these black and brown faces?
Black Trump, where's the black dude in Florida? Where's he at?
Byron Donald.
Where's he at? You know what I'm saying?
Probably sweeping up someplace. Singing Negro spirituals.
Yes, the balls.
They probably, Byron Donald come into the wade in the water, wade in the water. Like,
Miracle, how do you see, like, and I think the question is, like, how should we as black and brown people be responding to the fact that here's Trump, you know, he's literally weaponizing the power of the White House and the federal government against black and brown people specifically. How should we be responding?
I think we should be responding to Trump's taking over and I would say the bastardization of justice and law as something that is like no surprise, because we know that white supremacy is always going to harm people. I think we need to be responding by pushing back, by protesting, by organizing, but I think also the reason these charges never stick is most black people are aware that these accusations are going to pop up. Like, for instance, like here in Pittsburgh, the mayor was accused of only giving business to black people, right? Because the amount of minority businesses who were getting contracts in the city increased over 35%.
Right.
And he said, okay, I would put out an RFP process. If you want to do business with the city, here's this RFP, and this is how it gets voted on. Yes. And even still, when black people were winning these proposals, people were still upset.
Yes.
There's nothing that anyone can do and say that is going to allow bigots and white supremacists to be satisfied when black and brown people get power or hire other black and brown people, right? Because if you see black and brown people working, you no longer have an excuse to call black and brown people lazy to justify your racism and your white supremacy. So I think right now people have to just make sure they have really good proposals and processes for hiring, firing, and connecting with other folks.
Absolutely.
I think people need to be fighting back, you know, showing your elected officials love and support, and get organizing house to house, door to door, hood to hood, neighborhood to neighborhood, really coming together to like mobilize and fight back against Trump. And
it's never, but it's also like, even with Trump, it's never the other way. It's never like, hey, Trump, you didn't put anybody black in your cabinets, right? And so it's never that's never like questioned in the same way. They would say, and we know, I mean, he put some of the most unqualified people in these positions that we've ever seen, and is leaving them there. So it's never a question of all these. Wait, what did you do? Fox News? Okay, you're hired, right? It's never the same way. But there is something that we can do, Miracle.
Okay.
What we can do is we can all come together, and we can buy Trump's meme coin. And then we could get a dinner with Donald Trump.
I'm so...
and then maybe we could get some type of... I mean, think about it. This happened. The president has a meme coin. And the president, like, had a dinner for people who bought the meme coin. Nobody had to get, like... They didn't say who was at the dinner. They didn't say if anybody at this dinner were foreign nationals. They said that the dinner was, I guess, $148 million was raised in the meme coin for this dinner.
So that's how much they raised. That's not how much the dinner cost.
No.
Okay.
But you know, you had to buy a bunch of meme coin,
like some Bitcoin thing, like cryptocurrency,
to go to this dinner. Now it did say, you know, the food sucks, security was lacked, and, you know, the dinner was whack. And I guess they said Trump only came in, spoke for half an hour, and left. But it's like,
I mean, he is president. He has other things to do.
But people were saying, like this is open grifting. This is like open, I'm president, I'm grifting, I'm taking money, and it's done in such a naked, I don't give a fuck way, and nobody is saying anything.
Is there anything more American than that, though?
I know other countries just be looking at us in disgust. Using like the hard R and everything, like just be upset.
Using
angry.
the hard R in in America, or
just like those Americans.
You American,
just all the slurs, like just like in disgust, right? Because we have policed the whole world and called the whole world this corrupt society, and we've talked about corruption in other countries' politics. And here we are selling stuff for a meme coin. Like, it's just
remember when the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, came over and they criticized him for not wearing a suit?
Yes.
Imagine if he was selling cryptocurrency.
Yes.
I think it's this idea that, like, once a black person gets a position, no matter what position it is, it becomes this thing about, like, oh, well, then any white person is good enough to have this position.
If a black person can have it, then any of us can.
Right? Yeah. No qualifications. I think about, like, what's going on in St. Louis, right, where you know the black mayor, she was kicked out. There's a new white mayor in, and forgot to tell someone to ring the alarm so that a tornado siren can go off in St. Louis. And because they forgot to do that, 5 people are died. Thousands upon thousands worth of damage. Multiple people hurt, injured, all type of stuff because they forgot to tell people that a tornado was coming, right? So it's these type of things that it's just like white people get to fail and fail up and make a mistake and fail up. And then it's like, well, why is this happening? So, well, a black person was there.
Right. But again, it's not even falling up. It's like, here, this is from this meme coin dinner. It says, the #1 token holder of Trump's meme coin was a Chinese-born crypto mogul, Justin's son, who is currently facing Security and Exchange Commission fraud charges that were recently paused, with the agency citing public interest. Sun holds over $22 million in the Trump token and another $75 million in the World Liberty Financials token. I guess Trump is tied to that.
Just bought his freedom.
100%.
That's all.
So it's like, for you to be, this is clear. This isn't no like, we got to do no investigation.
Yeah.
Like right in our face.
Oh, we got the file.
Right. Like right in our face, he's doing naked corruption. And it's like, there's no response to it. There's nobody talking about investigating him. Nobody. And again, he just is right in these people's faces. It's wild.
I mean, fees and fines. Somebody said whenever your response to a crime is a fine, it's letting you know for a fee you can break the law.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is,
and what's more American than that?
Right.
Nothing.
Like nobody really cares that Trump is breaking the law again.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's still black and brown people who are getting hurt. There was a picture, I forgot where this immigrant was from. He was Caucasian, and someone said
one of the good countries.
No, I forgot. It was, he's subject to deportation.
The Danish guy.
Maybe the Danish. Maybe but somebody was like, "Oh, now they're deporting white people.
Yeah,
it's about to get real, right?
Yeah.
Because so far, all the conversations and stories have been about black and brown immigrants. Even the people who've been like wrongfully, detained. It's been black and brown people.
I wonder, like is El Funky in the studio right now? I wonder what his next song is going to sound like.
Oye, mírame. Vaya con Dios.
Because my friend is going to this right now. When Trump says you have to deport, you are still legally obligated to pay all of your bills in America. You are still you're not right. So
shit.
You know this idea of like
come get me in my bills.
All this type of stuff, there is no paper they're sending out to people. I'm like, oh, lease is terminated, car notes terminated, bills are terminated, all this type of stuff. So now people are fleeing, trying to like self-deport, but then are still being told they still have to pay all of their fees and bills like here in America. And if they don't, there's a possibility they're going to face charges if they ever come back to America based off the stuff that they're doing here.
If you get deported, can you come back?
People are self-deporting because they're Muslim.
Can you travel here, or how does that work?
So
are you done forever?
No, so people have left because they have the ability to come here, but it's like we're gonna wait out Trump. So maybe if a Democratic president comes,
right.
all this craziness stuff.
NBC did a survey of over 100,000 people. Do you know the number one country most Americans want to move to?
Canada?
Mexico?
No. Canada is 4. Mexico is 8.
Hold on, let me see if I can guess this. Give me a hint. Just give me one hint.
I don't even know if I can give a hint. It's surprising. It's like that. Really?
Is it warm?
Germany?
Portugal.
Oh, that makes sense because a lot
Portugal is number one.
I know a lot of people who've moved to Portugal.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of English people go. A lot of people in England, when they get to a certain age, they either go Spain or Portugal.
Spain is 2.
Yeah. And
Portugal is 1. Spain is 2.
And
why?
the reason is why is because they're so more stringent on immigration. And how disproportionately they treat black and brown people there.
Because they be throwing us in jail, so they done for us, right?
Also, beautiful weather, great food.
Climate's very favorable.
Climate's amazing. Very multicultural communities. People speak Spanish. People speak English. You're able to navigate around. I was in Portugal. I was shocked. Like when I went to Portugal, I was like,
you've been going everywhere.
What I've been told as black people, specifically black Americans, that Portugal and the farthest in Europe
Portugal
I've been
and
is
Spain
France.
Is not for us.
Yeah. Portugal, Spain, and Italy are the worst places to go as a black American.
Because you got to think about like it's right next to the strait, so like
Gibraltar.
So like North Africa is right there, so it's still in that like, are you black American or are you black African? Are you a migrant? So those type of places really not good. But obviously the past couple of years been trying to become better. But again, yes, very nice, great food. Like I was just like,
international travel to the U.S. is down as well, obviously.
So
who wants to come here?
What's the top 5?
Who wants to come here?
Portugal, Spain,
the United Kingdom, Canada, and I erased it. I forget what number 5. Mexico was 8 though.
I just felt so bad because like UK was like black Americans come here.
Yeah, we were like
no.
I came.
I love London.
And
I love London.
I mean, you know, I would say calm, just, you know, make sure you eating Jamaican and Indian food.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you stay in the east and the south, you're good.
The regular food is not.
Even if you go like Birmingham, like you go to Midlands or something like that.
So wait, but there's more. Unfortunately, there's more Donald Trump. Again, right? Like Trump, like in your face line. Like again, Trump brings the South African president,
Cyril Ramaphosa.
Ramaphosa to the White House, lies, right? Trump then has a meme coin dinner, and then supposedly, word on the street is that Barron got a rejection letter.
Yeah.
From Harvard. And Trump said, "Oh, where?"
Yeah.
So that Trump's whole attack on Harvard,
personal,
is because they denied Barron Trump entrance into Harvard. And so what just happened? A federal judge halts. I'm sorry. It says a federal. Okay, so they halted it. Trump tried to ban Harvard from enrolling any international students.
Yeah.
None. And so it did say.
Like, how does that even you can't even do that.
I mean, well, you can't. Again, like, he's like, I'm doing whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, again, a federal judge halted. It says a federal judge temporarily halted the Trump administration's ban on Harvard University's inability to enroll for. I mean, just think about it. Like, here's the president, like, in a personal beef, and basically like targeting one university and saying you can't enroll foreign students there. Because remember, Harvard, he wanted the DEI. Supposedly, they said Harvard quietly dismantled their DEI, but I guess they said, no, we're going to sue the Trump administration. You know, Harvard has billions in enrollment. They don't need the federal government's money.
Right.
And so here's Trump now. So it says the federal judge said, basically, I'm sorry, it was a clear retaliation for its refusal of the government's ideologically rooted policy demands. But again, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And this is always the thing that they accuse Democrats. This is the wild part, because like you accuse Democrats of doing this, but then when you do it, and it's very clear that this is a retaliatory procedure and action, nothing. You know what I'm saying? Harvard said the latest act by the government in clear retaliation for Harvard's exercising its First Amendment rights to reject the government's demand to control Harvard's governance, curriculum, and the ideology of its faculty and students is basically what Harvard said. So, comments?
I think I read somewhere that around 27% of Harvard's student population are people who are from across the world.
Yes.
And so
that is correct.
There is a need for Harvard to use global students to have not only curriculum and competitive nature, but again, like I said before, international students do not have the same legal rights as workers and protection, worker rights protections in the United States of America. And so a lot of international students are exploited for their labor.
Yep. Yeah.
And there is no legal recourse for them to get justice, because by the time they graduate, they can't file complaints and lawsuits because they're going back home, or they've worked in some other place and they need to have a sponsor. And so this is kind of hilarious to me that Harvard's like, wait a minute, no, you're not about to take away our labor force like that. But also, I think that it's this idea that bending the knee is never going to be enough. Because the original conversation was, okay, take out the Palestinian Studies program.
Right.
Don't talk about Palestine. They happily, readily did all that.
Yes.
Did all the stuff. And now now the government's like, we want more. We want more. And it's like, okay.
Similar to Colombia. Remember, Colombia did all that stuff, and they said, we still taking your money.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's this idea of like, you cannot, for someone who is consumed with power, you cannot comply in advance. And it was like, this is what everyone kept saying, Harvard and Columbia and all the Ivy Leagues should have been fighting Trump to begin with.
Collectively.
And then, later in the school year, figuring out what they were going to do internally. Right. But no, once you've already shown your weak point, he's going to keep coming at you.
Particularly when the right is always talking about free speech. And this is clearly about students at places like Columbia and places like, NYU, where they took the student's degree, like utilizing free speech. So it's like, it's not really about free speech, right? Like the woman who went on Piers Morgan and was like, white people should be able to openly say the N-word with no consequences.
I say it often.
Right. She said, but it's like, it's not about free speech, because when these people exercise free speech, when it's something that you don't want to hear, you don't want to agree with, you want them punished, right? And the question I had for you all is, if you're a foreign student on Harvard's campus, what's to prevent them from just sending in ICE
and just taking
you and putting you in a jail in Louisiana?
Right.
Is there anything that could prevent you from doing that?
Prevent ICE?
Yeah, from
nothing.
Because if you're Trump, and you say, okay, the judge doesn't allow us to prevent you from enrolling, but that doesn't say we can't go onto your campus and harass these foreign students that you already have, and make it to where foreign students don't want to come here to get an education.
I would ask the question, do the students who aren't American citizens have a student union that is protecting them? Are they bringing up these things to the university, right, to administration? Like, what are the protectorates in place, to prevent us from being deported? Like, do you have countermeasures against this? I think
I hear you, but if you watch what's happened,
I
don't think we didn't see Colombia stand up for the brother that they I don't think he was Palestinian, but he was speaking about Palestinian rights. I think he's still in Louisiana somewhere. They had they were chanting his name during the graduation ceremony. Right. Like when the president of Colombia came out there, she was like roundly booed. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a foreign student, I might be thinking about let me transfer and go someplace else, because to try to do the demands of college. And now you got to worry, if I go out or if somebody knocks on my door, this might be the federal government. I might end up in a jail somewhere. The young woman from Tufts, she's out, but she still has to go through this process, right? So like Miracle said, it might be better to just self-deport. Let me go to Portugal or Spain where I can just live my life in a sense and not have to worry about the government coming to get me in the middle of the night. This is crazy. Yeah. And again, we know. And to talk again I would love to hear, particularly some of these black rappers that supported Trump, when it says the Justice Department ends police reform agreements and halts investigations into major departments. All of this 5 years after George Floyd, where we watched this man's murder in real time. And the Justice Department started to investigate a lot of these police departments that had wild corruption. Yeah. And now all that's gone. And now these police departments are given a blank slate to go out and just murder and kill black people.
So police killings are up after George Floyd.
According to the New York Times, it says that an increasing number of people have been killed by police each year since George Floyd. And that was with the investigations happening, right? And so now with a blank slate to do what they want to do, now what? You know what I'm saying? But again, now if a police officer harms or violates one of your family members,
are you going to call Trump?
I don't want to hear you complaining. But what is he going to do? I mean, think about these. All of these people. Miracle just mentioned St. Louis, right? Here's Missouri. Yeah. Devastated by tornadoes. Here is Josh Hawley, the Republican. I think he's a senator from. He can't even get Trump to kick up no money. Yeah. Here was Arkansas, suffered devastation, right? Here, what's her name? Huckabee. Sarah Huckabee, who was a supporter of Trump, asking for FEMA money. You ain't getting none either, right? North Carolina, you ain't getting none either.
He went to North Carolina and said he wanted to break down FEMA.
Right. And so now, again, and I wonder, and I want to come to you, Miracle, because, Trump's big, beautiful bill just passed. This is always a question for me.
Just crazy he called it that.
And it's just be it's how much more are these poor white Trumpers willing to take? Oh, he got something big and beautiful. and it's going right where you think it is.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? So
oh my God.
In this big, beautiful bill, it says funding for Medicaid will be slashed by nearly $700 billion. And it also said that the food stamps program would see a cut of almost $300 billion in federal support. Like what we know, despite like all of the how the media portrays it, we know.
The majority of people on food stamps are white.
And they're going
to be like, wait, you're treating me like black people now?
Yes, the majority of these people on food stamps are white. The majority of people who are in need of this Medicare are these poor white states, right? Yep. And so now, like when these poor white people don't have the ability, like, so is that, like, are you going to starve to death until you're going to hate black people till you're starvation?
Yeah.
Miracle, will this change any of these people's minds?
No, because it's the idea that they are being the sacrificial lambs so that the people the Trump administration wants to go after can be harmed.
But Miracle, here are these people. Okay, you're again, you got all the MAGA gear. You done spent your last on all this MAGA gear that's made in China, by the way. And right, he's not only doing meme dinners, he's building golf courses in Qatar. Like he's in your face, directly profiting, and at the same time cutting your food stamps and cutting your ability to even go to the doctor?
How is he going to be able to get the immigrants if he doesn't have enough money to pay the Border Patrol? It literally is the evilness of white supremacy where people will literally vote against their interests. And we've talked a lot about this multiple times on this podcast, is when Trump said there is nothing that I can ever do to make my people move against me.
That's what he said.
He was correct because he understands what being in a cult is.
Yeah.
When you look at Trump voters as people who are part of a cult and not people who are just politically aligned with someone doing bad things, it makes so much more sense because there's no other option right now. Usually there's a de-radicalization program where you have another option. And again, people get mad at me whenever I say this. The biggest mistake Democrats did was when Biden got elected, they never gave Americans their $2,000.
Yes.
Because that was what Biden ran on. Was like every American got $2,000. And then when he won, he was like, oops, you already got your money because you had this little money here, that little money there. And it was like, you literally showed people that you cannot be trusted. So people are not going to go with another alternative because they have been burned once.
Right.
You have to.
And what's the other alternative? Like to Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? What is the alternative?
There is, and I think we have to be very clear. There is right now no alternative to Donald Trump. Like Hakeem Jeffries, for as much as I love alliteration, I'd be like, sir, stop rhyming and get to work. Right?
Stop making like fake rap covers. You and Cory Booker.
Like there is no policy. There is nothing. There is only response to the next traumatic thing that has happened. There is nobody right now, even for AOC and Bernie going across these tours and talking about stopping the oligarchy. There is nothing right now that you have, to go against Trump. And I think people are starting to see this, right? Because Tim Walz, is it Wall, whatever his name is, literally came out and said, the next time Democrats get in power, they have to be about action. Day one, day two, every day has to be action. And it's the fact that we can't even agree on a single payer system. We cannot even agree on forgiving student loans. We cannot even agree on investing in schools and having clean air and clean energy.
Come on.
So why we cannot agree on this, Trump was like, okay, I'm just going to destroy everything. And we can't even be like, don't destroy stuff that's bad.
Yeah.
Because then we're going to be like, oh, if that's bad, what should we be doing?
Now, Miracle, on this topic, right? We talked about David Hogg last week, and David Hogg's critique of some of the older members of the Democratic Congress and Senate. David Hogg, I guess, was on the Breakfast Club, and he said that Jasmine Crockett is the leader the Democrats need. Is that somebody that you believe can, be somebody to rally the base of the Democrats, or the base of the Democrats could rally behind?
I really need us to get off of the ramification of black women trying to save the world once white people screw it up. This idea that Jasmine Crockett is the person we need because she's been going toe-to-toe with Republicans is because nobody else is doing the work.
Wow.
And I do like the fact that she will go toe-to-toe with people. If you call me something, I'm going to call you right back. Yeah. Even though, calling the Governor Hot Wheels probably is not the best, example.
Probably not the most politically correct.
Example
Funny,
of that.
but not politically correct.
Right.
Kind of like something Farouk would say.
With the disabled community not really appreciating that. But I think she is someone. She's someone who can command attention, who is very smart, who is very personable. Who does not sugarcoat things, who breaks stuff down, who takes the media to task. I think she's a great person, but I don't think she's going to be protected by the Democratic Party. I don't think any black woman who steps into the leadership role is going to be protected because, when Trump was calling her ignorant and stupid, Hakeem wasn't there to defend her, right? Like as
Chuck Schumer didn't hear what he had to say.
As fervently as you would want somebody to defend you. And so I do think that she would be a great person. I think her, Summerlee, and AOC, if they banded together and those three did speaking tours and speaking engagements together.
Oh man, that would be crazy.
You said Bernie could just sit down and just,
No, I think Summerlee, AOC.
Just Summerlee and Jasmine Crockett together would be nuts.
But yes, I think it's Summerlee, AOC, and Jasmine Crockett. Those as a trio. Yeah. Speaking right after each other, going around the country, actually talking about lived experience, student loan debt, immigration, education, inflation. When I tell you everybody be out to vote, but I don't think that Hakeem Jeffries, who has a desire to be speaker, the first black speaker of the House, is going to let them do that, right? Right. There's been all these rumblings that he's told people to stop going, overseas and talking to migrants, and stop going here and doing all this work that people really resonate with people. So I don't think you see that. I do think that you're starting to see that a lot of folks really align with the progressive values of the Democratic Party and are trying to break away and be like, we're going to have to fight for our people the best way we know how. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. So here's the poll.
Okay.
It says, recent polling shows this is who's currently leading for potential 2028 Democratic presidential candidates. Kamala Harris, AOC, Gavin Newsom, and Peter Buttigieg. Comments?
Where's Shapiro?
Not in the top 10.
That's interesting. That's fascinating.
That's very interesting.
That's fascinating.
Pete Buttigieg, Kamala, Gavin Newsom, and who else? AOC?
AOC, yes.
I think Harris is going to fall.
Yeah,
absolutely. The more this stuff comes out around Biden, I think she's...
I think she's done for. Yeah,
me too.
Done.
I mean, again, if she wants to,
I don't think she should. I think she should be done with politics. Yeah, especially because the more the stuff comes out, and if
what's she gonna do? Like have a talk show or something? Like Kamala and Friends?
She honestly could.
It'll be like the next Biden, but because I do think that.
But she's gonna get canceled.
I mean, not Biden. I apologize. I'm in the next Obama because Obama has a Netflix deal.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
not.
And Michelle's podcast is looking like it's getting a lot of attention. Yeah.
So that's what I would say. I do think that also what is going to shake people, especially with the Harris campaign, is when the violence stops in Gaza and all the international media and spokespeople go into that region,
right, and actually
we start to see the actual images. Because I think the Harris is done for. I think anyone associated with the Biden-Harris campaign is going to be done for, and it's going to be a wrap there because it's going to be indefensible. So I think she's gone. I do see AOC. I do see some people want something younger, newer, different. Especially, Mr. Connolly just died. Right, the third or fourth person in the Democratic House.
Oh wow!
The I forgot what his name is. I want to say George, but he just died of cancer. It was like the third or fourth person to die. Everybody's like, we want somebody younger than like 60 leading the
Jerry
party.
Conley.
Yes.
So the guy who just stepped down.
Yeah.
That beat AOC and just stepped down. Oh, he did just die.
He just died of cancer, right?
Wow.
So people have been talking about like all this has been happening. Like we're down these votes because people aren't there. Like,
but I mean, he's dead.
He passed.
What can he do?
No, but I'm saying, like,
what can he do?
He could have not run again, right?
True,
Even
true.
Bernie's talking about he's going to run again, and everybody was like, "Where is the new blood of the Democratic Party?" And not to say that old people can't vote. Like, I think that older
Bernie's 83.
I think older politicians should be doing the candidate readiness program on the Democratic Party.
Right.
I think once you've done like 4 or 5 terms, you step down, you start to train people. Yeah. This is what the assignments look like. This is how you ask questions. This is how you prepare. This is how you read bills. This is what you need to look for in your tip stat. All the type of stuff. I think
these are the things you have to actually go to, even if you don't like them.
Yes, right.
And you probably shouldn't be shamed into doing your actual job.
Because I feel like there is.
Fetterman.
I feel like there is this idea, like we talked about last week, is a lot of these folks do not want to let go of these positions of power, and as a result, they're not developing newer leaders and newer talent, and so that institutional memory is going by the wayside. And I do think that a lot of folks would benefit from that institutional memory, but just not as like a congressperson, right? You just okay, I retired and moved on. Let me impart my knowledge this type of way. Let me go teach a class here, there, and just engage the community that way. So I hope term limits are coming, and we can just move on from this nightmare.
Well, term limits may be coming. I don't know. We did have somebody actually send us a blackmail about term limits, and they were pushing back against the idea of term limits. This is Maria. She was saying because she lives in Colorado, she said our state elected officials are term limited, but the lobbyists are not. And so she was saying the legislators spend their first years orienting themselves to the environment, learning how to get things done. So sometimes because of that inexperience, well, like you said, what you're saying is we're preparing these folks from the beginning. So when they get in, they could kind of hit the ground running. And so, but I can do see that piece. So this is somebody that supports the show. Shout out to you, Maria, about that.
Yeah, we probably should do something about Citizens United. We should probably do something about the amount of money in our politics. I was responding to what Maria said. No?
I'm just saying, how are we going to do that when the head of Homeland Security
doesn't know the laws?
Doesn't even know what habeas corpus.
I mean, we are in the bad place. But I do think that these are some of the things that Democrats can run on to get people excited about politics and not disenfranchised.
They're electing people to positions that don't even know what
the words are.
Could you imagine? And this is what you were saying. Could you imagine if this was a black person? Could you imagine if this was a black person that an Obama put in position, right? You're trying to sue the mayor of Chicago because black people in senior positions, but you have people in senior positions.
You said Chicago, and I think that would be a fucking crazy name for a mixtape.
Chicago.
What did I say?
Chicago. And I think that would be.
We're talking about what?
He was saying the way you pronounce Chicago.
Yeah.
You said Chicago.
If someone called it Chicago, that would be crazy.
Come on, they already called it Chirac, bro. We don't need
that. Would be dope.
We don't need Chicago.
That would be crazy.
We don't need that. Hopefully, I don't know if drill rappers. I don't know if drill rappers watch our show. Hopefully they don't.
Drill rappers.
Hopefully Chicago drill rappers aren't watching and taking that into account.
I do think this is a point in time. We have our people politics, Empower, school upcoming soon. But this is the time we have to teach people about civic engagement, about what the law is and how to find the law and how to engage the law and all these type of things. But I think it's an embarrassment. I think that right now we're in an embarrassing time.
Yes.
And I know my favorite pastime is bullying Democrats, but I I do, because I feel like they put us in this position in this sense that like it is hard to sit there and say that a president shouldn't have a meme coin when you allow a Supreme Court justice to get flued out and have millions of gifts and don't hold them accountable, right? And so we have to be like very honest that a lot of people fail to hold Trump accountable because there are many Trumps themselves, and they may not be doing as much harm, but they're still making sure they can benefit personally. So that's why I feel like Congress should have good benefits. Yeah. And then they shouldn't be able to trade stocks. They shouldn't be able to profit, no insider trading, and literally just like focus on things and just get the work done.
Did you want to play that clip just so we can see, we can all be like embarrassed and cringe at the same time as we watch this?
The Secretary, Noam, what is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right
let me stop you, ma'am. Habeas corpus, excuse me, that's incorrect.
President
habeas
Lincoln
corpus,
used it.
Excuse me. Habeas corpus is the legal principle that requires that the government provide a public reason for detaining and imprisoning people. If not for that protection, the government could simply arrest people, including American citizens, and hold them indefinitely for no reason. Habeas corpus is the foundational right that separates free societies like America from police states like North Korea. As a senator from the live free or die state, this matters a lot to me and my constituents and to all Americans. So, Secretary Noam, do you support the core protection that habeas corpus provides, that the government must provide a public reason in order to detain and imprison someone?
Yeah, I support habeas corpus. I also recognize that the President of the United States has the authority under the Constitution to decide if it should be suspended or not.
It has never
Let us be clear, though,
it has never been done. It has never been done without approval of Congress. Even Abraham Lincoln got retroactive approval from Congress.
That's why history matters, and it's like this idea of like people have been picking and choosing the case law to argue and say, oh, well, this happened. Well, wartime powers happen when you are at war, and if you're going to say that we are at war, you have to declare that we are at war, and that is the issue we've had. And Biden did say, like, I'm doing these war powers for these things, but nobody has said that we are at war. Right. And that is the problem that we have with these administrations is what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Right. And if when Biden was doing all this stuff, we couldn't hold him accountable, we're not going to be able to hold Trump accountable.
But when Biden was doing it, there was so much critique of Biden from the very Republicans that then cheered on when Trump does it. And I think that's my thing. It's like, oh, you're just a cheerleader. Like, and really to be a member of the Trump administration is to be a cheerleader for Donald Trump. That's the only qualification. This woman don't even know what habeas corpus means. She doesn't even know.
I would venture to say that she actually knows what habeas corpus means, but she likes to play a role of like this dumb blonde Barbie because that plays to the Republican base. And again, as her role as this dumb blonde Barbie, what does she do? She locks up and justifies locking up black and brown immigrants. Even people who have been incorrectly detained and deported. That is what she does. Everyone is playing a role in that administration. And I do think that, again, we cannot shoot anybody bail. All of these people are walking in alignment that they are trying to do the most harm as quick as possible to migrants, immigrants, and black and brown folks. And if they have to act dumb so you don't care that they're doing it, that's what they're going to do. But we have to really pay attention and get organized in order to make sure that like our people are going to live to see another day.
Speaking of like the blonde Barbie, did y'all see the video of when who's the press secretary for Donald Trump, when like the black police officer was like standing too close to her? No. And she like it's a video going around where like she's standing like behind Donald Trump and like a black police officer. And so she's kind of like looking to the side and was like, yo, like this black man is standing too close to me. And then he has to like back up off of her. Like, fascinating. Yes. Yeah, so that's been going around. I forget her name, Christina something, but again,
doesn't really matter.
I mean, just another just outright liar. Again, I wonder at what point, like, because if you can't feed your family, do you and Donald Trump is the one that cut these, you can't feed your family and go to the doctor, and he cut those things. And he's flying around on a $400 million plane that was given to him by this Middle Eastern country. I just wonder at what point do these white Trump supporters turn, or if they ever do.
They don't. If they haven't done it by now, then.
I mean, we shall see. We shall see. Well, with that being said, our white pages this week.
Dying of Whiteness by Jonathan Metzl?
No.
Oh.
Slave in a Box.
Jesus Christ.
The strange career of Aunt Jemima. This is a author named M.M. Manning. And it says, this is a quote from Manny Marble. In the white imagination, few images are as recognizable as that of Aunt Jemima. As a negative stereotype, reinforcing both racism and sexism, Aunt Jemima symbolically devalued the humanity of black women. As MM's thoughtful and well-written account makes clear, the racist image of the black mammy had a powerful impact on American culture and society. Slave in a Box documents the continuing commodification of radical and gender inequity within white America. And really, this is kind of what they want us.
Yes.
This is, what I was talking about when we get power.
Like a slave in a box.
Yeah, if we're willing to be a slave in a box, we're cool. You know what I'm saying? If we're willing to be, if we're willing.
That's a drop you're going to
Yes, please. Please no. Is that your new single?
Based off of SNL's.
Farouk.
I know.
Farouk. Okay, wait.
You got it.
Hold up. Farouk, new single from Saeed featuring L Funky. Slave. You and L Funky doing collabs.
Hey, man. Slave in a Box might go crazy.
Please stop.
Kanye on the beat.
Again, this is how white America will want us to be. They want us to just be happy to be here,
and stupid, and making songs called "Slave in a Box."
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want. Yeah, I mean,
let me get my Minister Miracle back for a second.
Yes, please do. So M.M. Manning, an incredible read, a powerful read about how America wants to see us as black and brown people, man. That's how you want it. That's really what you want us to be. We want, you want us to be our slaves on call. Hey, come, we need a black person. Come do this, and this, and that, and then dismiss us.
I think after that, I'm gonna watch Django tonight because I need to see some of that shit to restore my spirit.
You need to get a spirit restored.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess. Do we have? I don't think we have anything coming up.
We do.
I think.
What?
Our cookie.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Friday, May 30th, Jasmine Cho, a cookie activist.
Yeah.
What better activism could you want? First of all, can we shout out Special K?
Not the cereal.
Special K, who did our Artivist Academy showcase last Friday. Incredible. Transformed our space. Just artistically off the charts. Vulnerable, everything you want art to be. So, shout out to Special K. And now we can do some cookies.
Yeah.
Is there milk? We got to have milk on deck, right? But then she makes the cookies to where you don't want to eat them. You want to save them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't know.
She takes photos.
Maybe I have to send her my best photo. Can I get a Jasiri cookie?
Probably could.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But then I have to protect it because there's probably some people that want to.
She probably won't
break my Jasiri cookie.
I know where we're
this
going.
Cookie.
I'm gonna say for me and you, if we got cookies because we're already like cookie colored, she probably wouldn't have to do much to the dough. Just kind of mold it, and there you go.
Speak for yourself.
Miracle had that one loaded, so I just figured I'd beat it to the punch.
She don't even got to put yours in the oven, Farouk. She just.
We're out. See you next week. Fuck you, nigga.
At least mine's gonna be 5 minutes in the oven. You know what I mean? Like, anyway.
Mine's gonna be wet.
In defense of Jasmine, there's icing on top of the cookie.
Yes.
And then the image is there. So she would still need to cook y'all's cookies and design them.
So this upcoming Friday, May 30th, at the Black Box, Jasmine Cho, cookie activism. We'll have everything online. Also, I will be me at Encore this upcoming week, the National Conference on Race and Ethnicity. I'm doing a panel with, one of our founding members, Paradise Gray, at the intersection of hip hop and activism. So that'll be dope. So I'll be in New York City this week. We're also going to be at the UJC Summit, Rock Nation's UJC Summit, with, Michelle Kinney, Antoine's mom, which is a summit at the intersection of culture and changing the laws as well. So a lot happening in the One Hood universe. I always think like, oh, we're taking a week off, but no, there'd be more stuff that we have to do as One Hood. With that being said,
we have to show up to work even when there's no love at the town hall.
Well, at least you didn't have to be shamed into it. You just, or did you?
No, I'm just saying, like, we work.
Yes, we do work.
Up.
We do work. We had a daunting week, and then we got to get right back at it. Any last words, Fruit?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. This week in White Supremacy. Peace, y'all.
Turn up. Have a good weekend.
One Hood.